Good morning, everybody. It's Drew Hopley coming to you with this month's nugget. I'm going to talk to you about a couple things. I'm going to get a little bit nerdy. We're just getting back from our real estate conference down in Orlando with Keller Williams Realty. We had surrounded by about 25,000 agents last week, getting a lot of great value. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the macro trends of 2021, and then stick with me because I got an incredible nugget at the end. So you got to get through the nerdy part first. All right, so one thing that's on everybody's mind is housing prices continue to escalate, and when is that going to stop? It's a great question. Don't know. What I do know is some great stats, some great statistics from 2021 that we can share with you guys. So one thing that's super interesting is that historically, Americans spend about 20% of their household income on their mortgage payment. And America is a little bit different. We calculate that as just principal and interest, so it's not super accurate. The Canadians actually do it better. They factor in taxes, insurance, and electricity, and other utilities. So they're a little bit more accurate, but historically that's at 20%. Last year, all right, despite prices continuing to go up, Americans spent about 16% of their income on their mortgage payment. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that even though prices are escalating, that folks are still really not using as much of their household income on their mortgage payment as perhaps they could, or perhaps they could afford. So that begs the question, will we get closer to 20 or even surpass 20 next year? Some other interesting things. Most people know the stock market historically goes up about 7 to 8% year over year. Obviously there's periods where it goes down. Most people don't know the housing stat, which is traditionally housing goes up about 4% per year. So what's really interesting is that because we lost so much value in 07 and 08, we actually only got back to the levels that we would have been at if we had gone up 4% each year last year. So what I mean by that is 2021, we actually hit the level where we would have if we just had gone up 4% each year from 2007. So what does that tell us? Well, perhaps it tells us that even though we've accelerated so rapidly over the last couple of years, perhaps we're just back to the point where we would have been if we had had more traditional growth instead of these ebbs and flows. So hopefully that's not too nerdy. The last thing I want to leave you guys with is we have seen an interest rate hike, which people are concerned about. It's worth giving you guys a little bit of perspective here. So from 1972 to 2020, the average mortgage rate in America was almost 8%. Okay, so that's almost over 50 years, 8%. Now, since 1990 to 2020, so the 30-year span, that was 6%. All right. Now, since 2007 crash, we have not seen rates over 6%. So we've had 15 straight years of way under the historical average of the last 30. So we're monitoring all these things. I think it's just important to avoid headlines and avoid sort of clickbait and take a step back and look at sort of some macro trends so that we can kind of figure out where we're going. Now, you guys stuck with me through all that nerdiness, all that economics, all that nonsense. So here's what I'm going to give you guys. The best hour and a half of the whole conference was a speech on happiness. There's a Harvard professor, his name is Scott Acor, and he wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage. And he was speaking to 25,000 real estate agents, most of which are high achievers and growth-minded. And instead of talking about selling or how you can do more, he talked about the science and the psychology of happiness. It was super interesting. So the book is called The Happiness Advantage. I'd encourage you guys to check it out. He also has a couple famous TED Talks. But the basic nugget that I want to leave with you is this. So most people say, if I work harder, I'll be more successful, and then I'll be happy. Right? So work hard plus success equals happiness. And Scott, this Harvard-trained psychologist, says, well, what if you could just be happy now? Right? What if you can just choose to be happy, right? And it's just a super powerful concept that really struck us during this conference. So Would encourage you guys to really check that out. It was an incredible 90-minute speech that he gave us, and the book is super compelling. So hope you guys are doing great, and we'll catch you all next month. Peace.